It never comes to an end. It's forever and forever. The only way that man could ever be redeemed is not through any other way. There is no other way. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. The only true and living way, and there is no other way. And yet morning, noon, and night, there are all new ways appearing on the surface. A new isms here, a new ism there, all trying to spread something that is a lie. It's not based upon revelation. It's simply people sitting down, trying to work out what they consider a nice, pleasing philosophy of life. But I tell you, I've experienced it. As I stand here, I did not know until I experienced it. I was just as blind as Paul. Paul went out to destroy everything that claimed what Christianity claims. He consented unto Stephen's death, stoning him to death. And in spite of that, he was chosen. In spite of all that he did, he was the one who was elected. He had all that it took. He had the fire. He had that something that would face prisons and face anything rather than turn from the vision. He kept the divine vision in time of trouble. And so he stood before King Agrippa. And he said, "O King, why should it be thought strange that I have seen the Master, seen the risen Lord, seen the resurrection? Why is it strange that our people should think the resurrection is false?" That is all taught in Scripture, but they didn't see it. If I am appealing to God the Father not to leave my soul in the pit, not to leave me in hell, and then I could say a few chapters later, "Thou hast redeemed me," well, then he knows that he has been redeemed, for he saw the Father. And if he saw the Father having died, well, then he must be alive, and could say, "I am the living way, the true and living way." So you take my word for it. I would not betray you. I would not lead you astray. I take my Bible seriously. And the 3rd chapter of the book of James warns men who would be a teacher that the judgment is harder on him who would be the teacher than on any other person. So you're warned in the 3rd chapter of James to be very careful when you go out to teach. You teach the truth. And don't bring in any other thing outside of the truth as revealed. I'm not speaking of mathematics, not speaking of any of these things. I'm speaking of revealed truth in Scripture. And the story is there, but it must be repeated in the individual. And everything said of him in the Scripture will one day be experienced by everyone born of woman, but each in his own good time. For as we are told in the 3rd chapter of 2 Peter, when they wonder about when is his coming, he said they do not know that 1,000 years is as a day in the eyes of God. So they're concerned about when is he coming, and 1,000 years is only one day in the eyes of God. And so if you have 6,000 days or years of travel, it's only 6 days before the image is completed, and you and God are permanently made one. And then comes the revelation of the Son, who reveals you as God, and you know you are permanently one. You are the Father of God's only Son. And there's no other way that you would ever know it. Now let us go into the silence. Now, are there any questions, please? Yes, sir.
Neville, when you get the the version of the Bible that you recommend and the concordance?
Which one? Which verse?
I don't know. The version. In other words, which
Oh, well, I have many Bibles at home, and I use mostly the Revised Standard Version. And I use James Strong's Concordance. I find that exhaustive. Every word of course it's based upon the King James Version, but it's easy to find the parallel in the Revised Standard Version. But that is the Concordance. James Strong's Concordance uses the King James Version as its guide. But they take every word in the Hebrew, every word in Greek, and they define the original meaning for you. And you have sometimes a dozen definitions. And you can choose what you feel was the intention of the author. Or you can go along with what they did. But I use the Revised Standard Version most of the time. But I have Moffat's, I had Farrar, Fenton, Lightfoot, the New English Bible. Oh, I have so many Bibles. But I find it daily. I take my Revised Standard Version and read it. Well, if I do not like a translation, I will see what another one did or another one did. And if I don't like any of them, go to my concordance and see what I would have done if I had that opportunity. Now take that statement in Jeremiah. Can a man bear a child? Why then do I see every man with his hands on his loins like a woman in labor? Well, that didn't satisfy me. I went from Bible to Bible. They all almost give the same meaning. So I started a search in the concordance. And the word that they translate loins is not that at all. But they could not bring themselves to believe what the vision is actually stating. Now these are the words of the Lord, spoken to his prophet Jeremiah. And he's asking Jeremiah, can a man bear a child? And he doesn't wait for the answer from his prophet. He's answering what? He said, why then do I see every man with his hands drawing himself out of himself, just like a woman in labor? If you take the concordance and go through it, you'll find that is the best translation of it. I see him with his hands drawing himself out of himself, and that's exactly what happened.